We're gonna try that again. That's the first time that that's ever happened to me. It just randomly kicked me out of the live stream. But I am back. Like I said, not necessarily feeling too good, but I want to keep these live streams consistent. Eventually, we will get a consistent time where we're on at 8 p.m. EST, and that's when we're going to be running. So you guys know when you can join. But for now, we're kind of just doing it as I'm available to do it because it hasn't been working out where we've been able to find a good time slot where everyone's able to join. So sometimes I do them in the afternoon or in the morning, and a bunch of people are able to join. Sometimes I do them in the afternoon or the morning again, and no one's able to join. So we're going to find a way that works best for everyone, even if that means that we have to go forward and do 2 live streams. Good Impact says, hello, champ. How are you doing today? Man, I mean, for the way that I'm feeling, I'm not doing so bad. Like, I told you my throat was killing me. And yesterday I was in such a work mode that I'm like, my girl's like, are you going to sleep soon? It's 1 o'clock. I'm like, I think I'm gonna stay up to like 4 or 5 today. Like I just want to, keep on working. I have some things I want to get done. So I ended up staying up real late. So I ended up sleeping in real late too. I woke up at around 1, took my dog out, and then I was still gassed, like still not feeling well, still feeling feverish and shit. So I just went back to bed until like 5. But I've been up, and I'm going to talk to you guys about something around that story because I talked about it to my best friend last night, and I think there's some value in the conversation we had. Otter SL says, hello, Envy in chat. Yes, sir. Hello, Otter SL. How you doing, man? And we're doing good over there. Good Impact says, hello back to you. Fernando says, good evening and good vibes. Most definitely good evening and good vibes. We keep the vibes coming. All right, but I want to dive into this conversation because you know that this channel it's based around crypto, but we definitely have a heavy mental health aspect and motivation, self-improvement, all those things that kind of group together. Because I feel like if you're in crypto, you're in here for self-improvement. You want to grow yourself, regardless if it's financially, expand your life, expand your knowledge, whatever. So that all falls into the mental health aspect because you end up spending too many hours on Twitter. You spend too many hours, shilling, looking at coins or shilling coins, and your mental health aspect's fucked up because of that. And then we have the self-improvement, which, we all need to self-improve if we're planning to expand further. And yeah, so we keep these things all in conversation. My being for that is because like that's my truth. You guys know I suffer from mental health issues. I've been doing crypto now for 3 years consecutively. Been doing crypto nonstop for 3 years. And, there's a lot of insights that have come from doing that. But yes, our artist is building every day, most definitely. That's what we're here for, right? We want to take over. We don't want to just be here to exist, simply exist and be one of the best when we could be the best. And even if it's not the best out, it's the best version of yourself. And that's what matters. But let me dive into this conversation because I think it's very important. I don't think my friend would mind me sharing the conversation. It's not on the level of, that type of security or something you'd want to keep to yourself. But I asked him because I know he struggles with mental health issues as well. I asked him, has he been having a hard time adapting to the seasonal change? Because we're in Canada. So right now it went from being, super light when we wake up in the morning because it was summer. And, now we're into fall. So it's super dark. It's super gloomy. And as soon as that change hit for me, I went up from waking up at 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock, maybe 9 the latest, to waking up at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And I'm like, man, like, why does this keep on happening? Like, but now I can understand from going through it enough that like seasonal depression, the changing of the seasons, having the darkness and having that kind of mess with the chemistry in your brain, it's a real thing. So he told me he's going through the exact same thing. He's sleeping an extra hour before waking up for work or an extra 2 hours. And he was telling me some days he felt really guilty about it. Like, man, I shouldn't have slept that extra hour, that extra 2 hours. And he's beating himself up all day. So the reason I bring this up is because it's a real thing that a lot of people are going through. If I can talk to just one person about it, I only asked one person, has this seasonal change affected you? I've only asked one person, and they said it has. And it impacted them in a very similar way to it impacting me. So if we know that that can happen with just one person that we talk to, I also know it's happening with my girlfriend. So we can assume it's happening to a broader lot of people. But here's the thing. If you let the fact that you're sleeping in a little bit longer beat you up all day, it's like when it's raining, it's just raining. Like maybe it sucks that it's raining. You don't want to get wet. It's not that bad. You hop in your car and it's raining. You have your windshield wipers on. Everything's good, right? But if you get in a fucking car accident, now that rain became bad. And I'm using that as an analogy for beating yourself up over sleeping a little bit more, feeling shitty about yourself, waking up, and not just feeling as motivated as you are before, because it's going to happen, just like the rain is going to happen. But to beat yourself up over it, that's just going to make it fucking harder. That's really the part that's going to fuck up your day. It's not going to be the fact that you slept an hour or two longer. It's going to be the fact that you woke up and you bitched about it, you complained about it, you made yourself feel like a piece of shit. So if any of you guys are going through that, I just want you to know that the best thing I could recommend is to be easy on yourself. Maybe supplement some vitamin D, maybe supplement some B6, some B12. Look into the benefits of doing that right now when you're not getting so much sun. If you live in an area like me, make sure your water intake's good. If you can exercise, go out and exercise. But there's so many different things that you can do other than bitching, complaining, making yourself feel like a piece of shit, and taking away your motivation for the day. So that was in a conversation that I had yesterday. I wanted to touch base on it with you guys because I feel like there was some value in that conversation. Okay, we got my boy Fazzy here. He says, "Good morning, brother." Is it morning for you right now? Because it's night for me. It's almost 10 o'clock, 9:57. Otter says facts. Good Impact says more like autism or left brain dead. Yeah, I feel that way sometimes too. Not easy task for almost 27 years for me. Yeah, so you've been going through it for 27 years, but the thing is, it's about recognizing it, right? Because I've been going through it for a long time too, since I was younger. But when I was younger, I wasn't diagnosed with anything. I had no mental illness diagnosis. So I just thought I felt shit because I felt shit, or my nutrition was bad, or I wasn't working out enough. Like every reason for me, like maybe I was gluten intolerant. Every reason for me to think that I was feeling shit, that's why I was feeling shit. It was never to do with mental health things. Now I know I deal with mental health things. So as things reoccur, I can at least become a little bit more knowledgeable to pick that up and be like, oh, but I've seen this before. And last time when I dealt with it, I dealt with it this way. It didn't really work out. So this time I'm going to deal with it a different way. So if you've been dealing with this for 27 years, I hope that you can, come to terms with it, that you just got to be a little bit more kinder to yourself and just push a little harder on those days when it gets hard. Just push yourself to get outside. Push yourself to drink that water. Push yourself to do the exercise. Push yourself to go on the fucking live stream. Push yourself to go out on the date with your girl, even if you don't want to. Just you're going to have to be a little kinder to yourself, but at the same time, you're going to have to be the best friend to yourself. I always say this, like, I try to be the best friend to me that I wish I had. So I try to speak kindly to myself. I try to be like, okay, so I could lay in bed all day, but my girl's been complaining about going out. I know it would make her really happy. As a best friend, I would probably give the advice, just take your girl out. She'll have a good time. You'll feel better because of it. You won't be reminiscing when you're sitting in bed being like, oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. Just be your best friend and give yourself the advice that you need to continue to push forward when times get hard. Fazzy said, would have loved to watch complete stream, but I've got some work. See you soon, brother. That's all right, bro. I'm glad you hopped by. Thank you for doing so. Fernando says, oh, sorry. Man, don't ever be sorry. Because here's the thing. When we talk about things like mental health, when we talk about things like people dying, when we talk about, the sorrows that we have in our life, most of the time we don't want people to be sorry for us, you know. We don't want to hear I'm sorry that you're going through that. We just want to be able to express, and for someone to be like, okay, I understand that you're going through that, someone to listen. But like, most people who are going through hard times don't want the pity from it. I say most people because I know some people do have that victim mentality, and they constantly are talking about, but my life's not been good, and I wasn't given this, my parents left me, and all these things that are just weighing them down, and they're not able to kind of elevate because of that. But I would say most people who are, you know, people like me, people like you, who are just trying to make their life better, who've gone through some hard shit, but they're pushing forward regardless. We don't want to hear I'm sorry. And I appreciate you saying it because I know it comes from a good place. But like, so sorry for what? We all go through hard times. Just because my hard times happened today didn't mean your hard times yesterday were harder than mine. You know what I'm saying? So Fazzy said, yeah, it's 7 a.m. here. Wow. Okay, you're up early. See, I'm not waking up at 7 a.m. anymore. Um, no, it's my big bro. Good Impact says I've been taking care of him. Oh, understandable. Um, I can relate to that on a certain level. Like, I have my big brother, and my big brother, we have. I don't even really want to go on that relationship. You guys know how open I am about everything. Um, so the fact that I am hesitant to just speak about this may speak volumes on, we don't have the easiest relationship sometimes. At the end of the day, he's my brother and I love him. And I'm sure he loves me too. But, we just have differences. We're completely different people. We have different outlooks in life and shit. So I'm not going to go too far on that aspect. But my little brother, my youngest brother, he's 10 o'clock, almost at 10 o'clock. It's fucking 10 o'clock now, 10:02. But he's 10 years old, and I take care of him. So I've been doing that now for the last almost going on 3 years now. So I understand what it's like to have someone who you didn't necessarily plan on taking care of, and be in the situation where you are taking care of them now. Good Impact said, Fernando said, virtual hug, big heart. I appreciate that, Fernando, a lot. I can see you're a loving and caring person from all the things that you've been saying. So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that. Good Impact is saying, yes, I've been trying to become my big bro best friend and hope he can get better. Man, everyone can get better, not saying it's going to be an easy path. Like, I had one of my brothers who was addicted to substances, for a very, very long time. And I didn't know if he was going to get through it, because every time, he was getting through it and he was doing better, he would, relapse again. And it was hard seeing, and it was hard knowing how to be there for him, because, we just don't have the experience in this to know exactly what to do, but it's still family. But he's doing a lot better now. And it wasn't that it was like, okay, because I took him in, he was living with me, and he was still doing the shit. He was still fucking around and doing the shit, sneaking in, finding stuff, going out, getting stuff. So it wasn't that I made him better, but he's doing better now. And he's doing better now because there was something in him. And I can't say if it was me. I can't say if it was his dad. I can't say if it was his therapist. I can't say if it was the medication that he's taking, but there was something or a combination of these things that work for him. And right now he's doing a lot better. So as much as you want to be, the best friend to your brother, if your brother is going through some stuff right now, he needs ultimately to be the best friend to himself, because you're not always going to be there to be his best friend as much as you'd like to be and as much as you could try to be. Again, I'm no therapist. That's just my personal opinion. That's just how I feel about what you just discussed there. Oh, just sent a heart. Appreciate that, brother. Good Impact said it's not easy part. For almost 25 years, we're taking care of him. No light of hope to get cured. Been going so many places in hope for alternative medical treatment. Do you mind if I ask what type of ailment that he's dealing with? 25 years now. I mean, that's not easy. So, kudos for you for sticking by his side for these 25 years, because I think if it was you were in the other seat, and you were the one who had the ailment, you'd hope he would be there for you, and I'm sure he would. Sounds like you guys come from a good family. Yeah, if it's more of a biological stance, that can be tricky. Mental health is tricky too, like just as tricky as biological health, and mental health is assumably biological health as well. But the difference between, I'll start talking more so in difference of the body or the mind. Um, no sound, envy. Otter, can you still hear the sound? Oh, okay. Yes, it sounds okay. So that's the thing when someone says they can't hear sound, I'm like, okay, it might be on their side because my sound seems to be okay. It seems to be still running exactly how it was before. But yeah, I just wish you the best through that situation. I know you've been going through it for such a long time now, but it only takes one more visit. I used to say this back in the day before I knew I had mental illnesses, but I said it only takes one more book. It only takes one more seminar. It only takes one more inspiring movie. It only takes one more late night conversation with a friend for you to be able to figure this shit out. When I was growing up, I would ask so many questions. My family would talk about this, and they still talk about it sometimes. The fact that like I would just ask a question, I'd get an answer, then I'd follow up with another question, I'd get an answer, I'd follow up with another question. And my joke as I got older, I was like, well, I was just trying to ask every question. So by the time I turned 25, I would know everything because I've asked every question. But it was more of me like trying to find some type of purpose in life and trying to find some type of meaning in all that was life and everything that I did. From a young age, felt I felt a lack of purpose in a lot of stuff that I did, even stuff that I really loved to do, and even spending with family and stuff. It was just always this lingering feeling of maybe I was living a false purpose, and there was something that I needed to find. Maybe it was a religion, maybe like I said, it was a book, maybe it was a movie. Like I was always looking for something. I was always looking for something to change the way I thought, or maybe a new diet that I could adopt, so maybe my body would be working more efficient, then my brain would be working more efficient. But I was always searching. You said yes, Twitter is working fine. Envy, mark my attendance. Jazzy, I see you. I see you with your hand up. Jazzy is present. Marked your attendance. Dropping the hearts. I appreciate that. But yeah, today again, I just wanted to really get on here and do more of a talk because like I said, I'm really not feeling too well. For me to even dig into projects and give you dives of what I've been looking into right now. You guys can do that yourself. You have my channels, you have my Twitter. The most recent projects were posted on my Telegram, so you could go to Telegram and you can go dive in and look at those. But for me to like go and do a dive into them right now when I'm feeling so under the weather. I don't think is like I just don't think it's going to be the best value. I'd rather just talk to you guys. I would just crush Fruitopia by the carton. Filled with sugar, but this stuff's so good. Jazzy said made me remember my old school days. Yeah, no doubt. It made me feel like I was a school teacher. You know what's funny? I'm just looking at some of the tattoos we've done. Me and my girlfriend got a tattoo kit, like with the needle, the machine, and all that, and we just been putting tattoos on ourselves. Like this one, like I don't even know what possessed me to do this, especially like on my hand, and it hurts so bad because like tattooing on this part of your hand, like the ink goes in so much easier. Like the level of skin that it has to go through to actually like sink the ink is so different from this. Like this is such a hard surface, right? Your hands such a harder surface, so it was like fucking it was wild to put that in. And I didn't even have an idea of what I was gonna write on my hand. I was just like playing around with it and just started writing words, and that's what I came off with there. You guys go to school, so lucky. I did go to school, but I dropped out because of crypto. I didn't drop out. I finished my first semester. I did well in my first semester too. I was on academic honor roll. All my grades were above A. Um, I was studying psychology. I wanted to become a psychologist. But after my first semester, I just never returned because I saw the opportunity in crypto. And I'm happy I did that. Shit worked out for the best for me, at least. And I never believe it's too late because I was doing that when I was 24. So the thing was like if I was doing it when I was 24, it takes about 8 years. I'd be finished by the time I was 32. So by the time I was 32, up until I was about 65, 70, I would be able to work as a psychologist. So same thing now. Say I'm 27 now, but let's say I do crypto for the next 3 years because I could still want to do crypto. Right now, I'm really enjoying it. I still love what I do. I really do. But let's say I wanted to wait another 3 years. I'd be 30, and I would need to do now 7.5 years because I've already have half a year under my belt. And I would be done by the time I was 38. So I would be able to do it from 38 to about 65, 70. And, that's still a pretty good career that I would have in psychology, helping people with mental illness and something that I'm passionate about if I decide to do that. So, yeah, I'm happy I did the crypto thing because it was fun. I loved it too. The thing is, part of my mental illness is OCD. For you who don't know, it's obsessive compulsive disorder. And there's different parts about OCD, but one of the parts about it is obsession. And if I find something I do really like, I become obsessed with it. And crypto was that for me. I just couldn't stop learning about it, couldn't stop doing it. Was spending every hour that I had behind school. Like I'd get my schoolwork done as quickly as I could and whip it out. Like, I wasn't doing it perfect. I was just trying to whip it out so I could get back to crypto. But yeah, I became obsessed with it. And I would still say I have that obsession now because I'm spending just as much time doing crypto now as I was before, just doing different things. Good Impact says you guys go to school so lucky. Yeah, I read that. My bad. Jazzy Singh said that's dope. We're in Envy School Impact, and Envy is our principal. That's funny. I mean, the real thing is like I would love to be a teacher of some sort because I feel like through my life experiences and all the things that I've been through and all the various jobs I had, when I was doing real estate or I was managing a men's formal wear store and dressing people up for their wedding and sales in various avenues, I really feel like I can help people and I can teach people how to get themselves in a better path, regardless if that's a lot of it just comes to mindset, right? I can tell you guys like my mindset in general is probably the worst you would ever know or expect from a person. Like if I didn't apply all these things that I've learned from psychology and different readings on, self-fulfillment and bettering yourself, and if I didn't take all those into account and like, speak kindly to myself and all these things that like I talk to you guys about constantly, you would think I was like the worst person. Like you'd think I was very deranged. You'd think I was very upset. You'd think I was very angry all the time because that's naturally how I am. But through these tools that I've learned throughout these years, I'm able to be a presentable person where I'm able to, talk to people, encourage myself, live a decently healthy life. And eventually, like, I do want to do that for other people. I did talk to you guys a little bit on Twitter about doing some life coaching and seeing if anyone would be interested in doing that. And there's pretty good feedback. A lot of people seemed like they would be interested in doing life coaching. So maybe I can allocate a few hours to my week to take on life coaching clients and kind of just go through the things that I think would be valuable for them to work on, for them to have the insight on, maybe even, just different books, chapters of different books that I want them to read, to really just get a gist of, when you want to better yourself, it's so hard to know where to start because you could start at the gym, or you could start by reading something, or you could start by just walking more, or you could start by maybe spending more quality time with your family. Like there's so many different avenues. So you really need to know yourself as a person of like what it is that you're missing, because there's probably a lot of stuff you're already doing good enough and you don't really need to focus on that. But there's probably a lot of stuff that you're discounting and kind of pushing off to the side that would really help you change your life for the better if you just applied a little bit more effort there. So I think that'd be an interesting avenue if that was ever taken. And I am seriously considering that because that would help fulfill a need of mine, just like the psychology was going to. Okay. Laugh out loud. I miss school. Great times. That's funny that you say that. It's like when you're in school, you don't want to be in school. But then when you're not in school, it's like you realize how easy it really was and how enjoyable it was seeing so many people hanging out with the homies. Jazzy says, Envy, I feel like I have done all the sins in life and I'm the most sinful person ever existed on the planet of Earth and most disliked child of God. 1 second. You just dropped a lot on me. Had to at least be hydrated to answer that. All right. So I feel like I know some of the worst people in the world. Maybe not the worst people in the world, but I feel like I know some pretty bad people. And I don't think it's over for them in terms of can they come back and can they be forgiven? Because when we're talking about forgiveness, you brought up God. And if you want to be forgiven by God, you have to try to figure out a path that would, lead you to be forgiven by God. But forgiveness typically is just yourself. You just need to forgive yourself for all the things that you've done in your past. Forgive yourself for the things you may do in the future. But largely forgive yourself for the things that you did in the past and just look forward to a better future where you're going to make an attempt to live a better life. So even if you really feel all those things and you truly feel that you're that bad of a person, I don't think it's over for you. I think that you could quickly change your life around a lot quicker than you may have messed it up. I think if you started working on yourself today and your goal was to become a better person and you wanted to become 60% better, I think you could become 60% better of a person within a month or two. I think if you wanted to be 90% better, of a person from what you have been in the past, I think you could do that in 6 months. And if you wanted to be 100% better and leave all the ways and step forward into more better, productive, giving back to society and being a better person, I think you could achieve that within a year. And I honestly mean that, and I honestly believe that. Jesse said, "Thanks, Envy. No problem." Canadian PM face green smiling. I never see those emojis. I never ever see those emojis. They just come up as these words. But I just saw Canadian. I don't know why you brought Canadian up. Yeah, I know I'm Canadian. Canada, you said. That's funny. Oh, but yeah, my throat's hurting. I hope it's not strep throat. I've bouts of getting strep throat since I was a kid. I used to get it all the time, maybe like 6 to 8 times a year. And then as I got a little bit older, like I was 23, and I just wasn't getting it anymore. I also was not partying and doing drugs as much, and like all this stuff that probably was leading to it. But just wasn't getting it anymore. But I got it about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and it feels like I'm getting it now. I just hope I'm not. Jazzy says, "Oh yeah, you just dropped a lot of emojis. I'm not gonna read them all off. I'm 22 only. Oh, then you have a fucking shitload of time to fix all of the things that you've done. 22. It seems like it was like so far from me, but like I remember when I first like turned 19, because that's like when you can first legally go out to like clubs and stuff in Canada. And I remember how big of a thing that was for me back then. And then thinking like just 4 years after that, I'm 20, or 3 years after that, I'm 22. And now to think like I'm 27, in 3 years, I'm going to be 30. Like it just seems like such a big gap. But like when I look back at it, it doesn't seem like it was far apart at all. But you do have a lot of time because let's say again, I'm 27. So if you're 22, you have 5 years until when I was 22, I wouldn't be able to be the person that you guys would like to talk to, you know? Maybe you would like to talk to me, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't have the insights that I have. I wouldn't know my mental health weaknesses, and I wouldn't talk about mental health. I didn't when I was that age. And there's just a bunch of stuff that I would be missing. I wouldn't have any experience with crypto. Um, I wouldn't have any experience with death of my loved ones. All my loved ones would still be alive back then. And, just because it's a bad thing doesn't mean that you don't have experience. You grow through these painful things that happen. So, like, at 22, you just have so much time. But at 35, you have so much time. At fucking 45, you have so much time. But at 22, like you're an infant. I'm an infant, like I still feel like I have time to take over the world. And I mean that in a good sense. You know what I mean? I mean that in the terms of, being a very successful influencer, being the top influencer, whatever I want to set my head to. I feel like I have the time to do that. I don't feel too rushed. I don't feel like I'm a little far behind. I feel like fuck it. If the crypto Bit Boy was able to do it, I mean he was pretty old, and he looks definitely fucking old now. Crypto aged the shit out of him, but if he was able to do it at his age, I'm 27. I got my time. Good Impact said, no, you said some people who is bad, and I also lived in Orlando. Our Canadian Prime Minister may be on your list, Envy. Oh yeah, he's not so good. As far as I know, I don't veer into politics too much. Just like religion, I don't veer into religion too much. I just try to stay away from things that are too controversial. Just too much. Too fucking much. So I don't have a large opinion. My only opinion on religion is that I think religion is good if it's in a healthy context. Like religions such as Christianity, Catholic religions, again, when they're in a proper context and they're, studied and discovered in a proper way. Muslim religions, Sikh religions, Hinduism. I think there is benefits to being a religious person. I think it can teach you a lot of. Yeah, I think religions just teach people how to be good people. That's what the teachings are. It's don't do bad shit, do good shit, and I think there's value from that. Actually, if I have a child, I want him to grow up Christian, and just because I wish I was more religious, just because the religious people I have in my life, when they're going through shit, whatever it is, it could be like something very, very significant and hard, but they're always just like, no, like, God has it's his plan for me. So like, they have God to kind of lean on. When you don't have anyone else to lean on, but you always have God if you're religious, or you have Allah, or whatever God it is that you're praying to. So that's the one thing I'll say on religion, but that's really all I'll talk about it. Jazzy said, I've watched a lot of porn, so I count it as a sin. I fucking hate porn now because my mind fucked with full of lust and have bad thoughts. So I spend time watching your live and stuff and escape from porn. Well, that's good. I don't have a very strong opinion on porn. I think if you're, addicted to it, obviously it's not great to be addicted to anything. I think if you casually watch porn once in a while when you're bored and you just want to feel something, I think that's fine. And like different people have different perspectives on it, right? Like, there's a lot of athletes who don't, have sex or watch porn before games, or even a couple days before games, because they think the semen retention will help them with their energy levels. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know if that's true or false, but I do know that people do practice that. But I don't think watching porn is the worst thing to do. One thing that watching porn does is it gives you a skewed reality of what sex is actually like, because I've watched a lot of porn and I've had a lot of sex, and I can say that between the porn I've watched back in the day, I don't watch porn now, for the record. I'll just say that to set it clear, not because I'm totally against it, just because it's something that doesn't fit into my lifestyle right now. But yeah, when you watch porn versus when you actually have sex, it'll give you different expectations for how sex should be, and you might not think sex is as good as it's supposed to be or is, because you've been watching porn and seeing all this crazy stuff, and you're not having crazy experience like that, and it may take away from the fact that sex is really good if you're intimate with your partner, intimate with someone, and it doesn't have to be the craziest shit for it to be a very good experience. I'm 23 now, but will I live to see 24? The way things are going, I don't know. I used to think that all the time, and from a very young age, if I would be here. And every year so far, I've showed up and I've been here. So I know you think like, will you be here next year? And that's probably it is probably just a bad trap, a cycle of thinking. You'll likely be here next year. Odds are you'll be here next year. No guarantees. But yeah, I still think that to myself, like, especially with my branding and everything. You see, like, my branding, it's a skull, it's a dead rose. I have a bunch of like, dead stuff all over me, like tatted all over me. I don't even know where I fucking put half of these tattoos. Oh yeah. This one says, I always want to die. Like, I don't know, sometimes, like, am I um, forecasting my death. Envy died. Everyone calls me by Envy. My channels are Envy died or Envy dies. Like, am I forecasting the fact that I'm going to die? But I don't really believe in that too much. My girl trips out about it sometimes, but I'm very comfortable talking about death and just in everyone's gonna die. I know I'm going to die. I've experienced a lot of death, and I'm going to be very comfortable with my death, I'm sure. That's one thing I do know. I'm 25, long way, progressing slowly. Yes, sir. We're all pretty young here. As long as it doesn't spread hate and venom, every religion is good and peaceful. Oh yeah, so Good Impact said, what about NLT religion? I don't have enough knowledge to even speak on it, so I'm just not going to. Fernando says, yeah, Jazzy laughs. Good Impact says, it is not your fault, Jazzy. I know how hard it is to get married in India. Jesus Christ. I'm just gonna leave it at that. No, in fact, it is easy as fuck to get married in India. Where are you living at? One of my friends who lived there sold that girl there. They are so picky. Oh, said that girls are so picky, not sold. Jesus Christ, I really need to put on some glasses so I can read this right. Yeah, in India here you can marry in your own religion and caste, but not in another religion. So that's a controversial issue. Yeah. You know what? I don't have much to say on that because I'm Canadian, and it's not very controversial if I was to marry anyone. It would be most controversial if I was to marry someone of a different religion who wouldn't typically marry outside of their religion. That would be the only controversial thing. But regardless, if I marry a white girl, I marry a black girl, I marry a Spanish girl, I marry a Chinese girl, I marry an Indian girl, a Native American girl. None of that shit matters where I'm from. It's like we're all kind of here together, and it's like, but people do marry within their culture still here, and that's an interesting thing about Canada, and an interesting thing about cultures, because there's still a lot of people. I don't know if just specifically Indian descent, but I know a lot of Indian descents, they still will just marry within their own culture. And it seems, and I don't mean this to be racist at all, but it seems like a lot of the Indian people that I meet just want to like stick with their own people and stick with their own cultures, stick with their own things, stick with their own dialect. A lot don't care for learning the language. I don't mean that to be racist, because that's not true amongst the cross the board. It's just something I've perceived as I've met different people throughout my life in different cultures. You guys are just chopping it up, having a conversation in the chat. Okay, where did I read last? Move here, Jazzy. Northern Korean girl. Northern Korean. Fuck. Man, oh man, you guys are funny, but yeah, like I'm definitely not talking on that. I'm already like feel like I'm stepping out of bounds in talking about Indians, some Indians wanting to stay within their own culture and their cultural norms and not care so much about Canadian norms and stuff relative to that. But that's just an observation. I don't think that comes off as racist at all. If it does, forgive me. That wasn't my intention. I do feel like other cultures are like that. I feel the Chinese cultures in Canada are kind of segregated to themselves as well, and like to do things with their people and not so much adapt to what the typical Canadian does, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think like when you have such strong conviction and belief in your culture, the way you were raised, the person you were supposed to marry, the ideal person you're supposed to marry, then you just get stuck in beliefs, and I don't think that's a wrongdoing. I think it's just the way life is. I could have easily been on one of those sides. Um, Kim Jong Un is watching this live. Nuclear. Jesus Christ, man. I don't even like. You know me. I try to stay. I try to stay not controversial while speaking my mind, and I feel like I'm a very non-controversial person because my thoughts are like pretty open, but like I feel like a lot of people understand my thoughts, even if I'm talking about depression, if I'm talking about death, if I'm talking about whatever the fuck it is that I'm talking about. I feel like it's not like way out there, but fucking talking about North Korea and talking about Kim Jong Un in the chat and bombing and shit, I'm like, holy fuck, like that's just some of the stuff I don't talk about. Alrighty then. Today you found the biggest stuff in the envy bag. Oh yeah, the envy bag. When's that going off? I don't even have the right phone right now, so I can't even check that. I'll probably be sleeping when that giveaway ends, so I'd have to do that in the morning, but that's cool. Some stranger cut this live stream to shorts and uploaded it on TikTok. We will get for your page. Oh my fucking god. That's the scariest shit about the whole deep fake and how good people are getting with like cutting and pasting different films and stuff to make it look like you said something you really didn't. It's like yeah, people could really spin this, but I just hope that YouTube would leave this up so they could go back and find the original and see, be like, oh yeah, he didn't actually say something bad. They just fucked with him. All right, guys, but thank you so much for tuning in. I feel like we had a pretty good conversation. You guys kind of fucking took it sideways at the end. I caught a laugh out of it, but you guys are funny. You guys can go hop in the DMs. I know you guys have Twitter. I know you guys know where to find each other. You can talk about Kim Jong Un all night long. But Otter, what up? Yeah, good night, guys. Good night. I'm gonna try to get some rest, so I'm feeling better for the days to come. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate all you guys, and until next time,